Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back. Okay, so if a person breaks his fast, or if the fast breaks for some other reasons, it would be permissible for him to eat and drink. It is not compulsory for him to pass the rest of the day like a person who is fasting. However, because of the respect shown to the month of Ramadan, it is necessary for the person to refrain from eating and drinking until sunset. Similarly, if a person is not fasting for a valid reason and the reason comes to an end, example, he returned from a journey or his illness was cured, it will be necessary for the person to behave like a fasting person until the time of sunset. The same will apply if one was not allowed to fast because of reasons such as menstruation, has or nafas, bleeding after giving birth, and that reason came to an end during the day. Therefore, if a traveler returns home and non-mature child becomes mature, balig, a woman stop bleeding, or an insane person recovers from his insanity, all of them should behave like a fasting person for the rest of the day. That is, they must refrain from eating and drinking until sunset. What is the meaning of qada? Give few examples. Is it necessary to keep all the qada fasts one immediately after the other? What should be done if the qada fast of one Ramadan were not completed before the next Ramadan started? Explain the meaning of kafara as well as what should be done to fulfill kafara. Explain what becomes compulsory because of the respect shown to the month of Ramadan. How much has to be given to every poor person as kafara? Is it permissible to give one poor person the entire amount of grain or its price in a single day? If the entire kafara amount or its price has to be given to one person, how should it be done? Is it nafal or wajib to observe a khada fast or nafal fast that is broken? The niyya, the times and method of fasting. The word niyya means intention. It is sufficient to make niyya in the heart, although it is best to also say it with with the tongue. Among the condition for a fast to be correct is that the niyya has to be made. So if a person did not eat or drink from the dawa, so, so from the true dawn, eat or drink from true dawn, subah sadiq to sunset, and did not other action and did no other action that breaks a fast but did not have the intention of fast, he will not be regarded as a fasting person. For the fast of the Ramadan specified wajib fast, sunnah and nafal fast, it will be sufficient to make the intention of fasting without mention which fast it is. However, it is necessary to mention the fast being kept when one intend to keep a fast that is non-specified, ghair muayyan, or a qada fast of Ramadan. So, on a day of Ramadan or on a day when one has vowed to fast, it is enough just to say, "I am fasting today," without mentioning which fast one is keeping, because on such a day the fast will not be regarded as nafal. However, if such a plain niyyah to fast is made on any other day besides a day of Ramadan or a day in which one has vowed to fast, such as fast will be regarded as nafal. It will only be regarded as qada or a non-specific wajib ghair muayyan fast when one mentioned in this intention. The niyyah for specific fard of Ramadan or a specific wajib fast, nadir muayyan, can be made the night before, at least before half of the day passes. On the other hand, the niyyah for a non-specific fard, qada of Ramadan, or a non-specific wajib fast, ghair muayyan, must be made before true dawn, subah sadiq. A day of fasting refers to the time between true dawn, such subah sadiq, and sunset. Therefore, if true dawn is at 4 a.m. and sunset is at 6 p.m., the day will be 14 hours long and 11 a.m. will be half the day. One's niyyah should therefore be made before 11 a.m. The mustahabat of fasting, desired action relating through fasting. Eating something at Sahari, Shahur, making Niya for fasting the night before, eating Sahari in the last portion of the night just before Tudan, but ensuring that one has completed eating before Tudan Subh Sadiq. Making iftar, ending the fast as soon as one is sure that the sun has set. It must be remembered that iftar takes place as soon as the sun sets, while Sahri ends only when true dawn, Subh Sadiq breaks. It is incorrect to believe that iftar takes place a few minutes after sunset and the shahri ends a few minutes before the breaks of true dawn. This type of thinking is a distortion, change in the law of Sharia. So one must not understand it like that. To guard the tongue against useless talk, it is also important to guard the eyes, ears, hands, and other limbs from evil. Similarly, the mind and heart should also be protected against evil thoughts and inclination as far as possible. To make iftar with either dry or fresh dates or with water if dates are not available. Sahari, Shahur. Sahari refers to eating something during the last portion of the night just before the true dawn, Subh Sadiq. Par- it is sunnah to partake of Sahari just before true dawn, and doing this earns great rewards. Even if not hungry, one should eat something, one or two morsels of food at the time of Sahari. The makruhat of fasting, dislike actions relating to fasting. The following acts are makruh dislikes while fasting: to chew gum or keep anything else in the mouth, to use toothpaste to brush the teeth, to taste something. Tasting food is permissible only for a woman whose husband is extremely bad tempered. She is allowed to taste the food with the tip of her tongue. To allow water to go too far into the mouth or nose when gargling or rinsing the nose. To collect a large amount of saliva in the mouth, saliva, amount of saliva in the mouth and then swallow it. To backbite, lie, or swear. To show discomfort and restlessness due to fasting. To purposely delay a fard ghusl until after true dawn Sobh Sadiq. Acts that are permissible when fasting. The following acts are permissible while fasting. They will not make the fast makruh: applying surma, applying oil to the head or body, taking a bath for coolness when one is feeling hot, using a miswak when even though it is cut from a fresh branch or root, applying or smelling perfume, swallowing one's own saliva normally, eating or drinking something by mistake, vomiting unintentionally swallowing a fly or smoke, taking an injection in any part of the body besides the veins, putting medicine, eye drops in the eyes. Action that breaks the fast. Action that breaks the fast are two types: those things that make only qada necessary, those things that make both qada and kafara necessary. The first type, those things that make only qada wajib necessary. Someone forced food down the fasting person's throat while gargle the mouth, knowing that one is fasting. Some water mistakenly went down the throat, vomiting unintentionally, and then intentionally swallowing the vomit, intentionally vomiting more than a mouthful, unintentionally in unintentionally vomiting more than a mouthful, intentionally swallowing a stone, a seed, or a piece of paper. If some food which was stuck between the teeth is dislodged with the tongue and swallowed, it will break the fast if it is larger than a chickpea chana grain. The fast will not be broken if the food particle is smaller than a chickpea and is swallowed without removing from the mouth. So, if a food particle smaller than a chickpea is dislodged from between the teeth, removed from the mouth, and the and then swallowed. The fast will be broken. Putting oil in the ear, using snuff, intentionally swallowing blood that comes out from the between the teeth when the blood is more than the saliva, unintentionally eating or drinking something and then eating intentionally with the belief that the fast had broken, eating with the eating with the thought that the true dawn had not yet broken and then finding out that it had already broken while one was still eating, intentionally breaking a fast of the mouth of the out of the month of the Ramadan, breaking the fast with the thought that it was time for iftar and then finding out that it was not yet time for iftar. The fast will break in each of the uh, above cases, and a qada fast will have to be kept. Kafara will not be wajib. The second type, those things that makes both qada and kafara wajib. During the during the fast of Ramadan, to intentionally eat or drink something that provides nourishment, medical benefits or pleasure, sexual intercourse, intentionally eating or drinking after cupping blood or after applying surma with the thought that the fast had been broken by these days. Questions: what is the meaning of Naya? Is it necessary to say the Naya by tongue? Is a fast valid without a Naya? Until when is one allowed to make the Naya for the fast of Ramadan for specified wajib muayyan, and for mustahab and sunnah fast? What is the definition of a day? How will you calculate the middle of such a day? What is the mustahab time for sahari? Which actions will make kafara necessary? Which factors will make one only qada necessary? Itkaf. Itikaf means to schedule oneself stay in the masjid with the intention of ibadah worship. Men should perform itikaf in a masjid where the 5 daily salah are performed in congregation, jama, and women should perform itikaf in the part of her home where she perform her salah. If she if she does not have a fixed place where she perform her salah, she should specify an area of the house where she will remain for the duration of the itikaf. She should not leave her place for any other reason besides use the toilet. She is not allowed to go into the yard of the house or to any place that falls outside the specific area. Type of itikaf. There are three types of itikaf: wajib, sunnah, muakkada, mustahab. Wajib itikaf. Wajib itikaf, the itikaf that a person was promised to perform become wajib. The example is a person says, I promise to perform itikaf for 2 days, or I promise to itikaf or I promise itikaf for 2 days if my work is completed. Once that work is completed, it is wajib for the person to perform the itikaf. Sunnah muakkada itikaf. Performing itikaf for the last 10 days of Ramadan is sunnah muakkada. This itikaf This itikaf begins from sunset after the 20th day of Ramadan and ends once the moon for Eid is sighted, regardless of whether the moon is sighted after 29 or 30 days. This itikaf is known as Sunnah Muakkada al-Kafaya, meaning that it's some members of the community perform it, the rest of the people do not need to do. However, if if one perform it However, if one performs it, the entire community will be responsible for not performing it. Mustahab itikaf. All itikaf besides the wajib and sunnah muakkada itikaf are classified as mustahab itikaf. It is permissible to perform mustahab itikaf during any day of the year. This type of itikaf is also referred to as a nafil itikaf. Precondition itikaf. The precondition for itikaf to be valid are to be a Muslim, to be clean, that is not in the condition of janab, menstruation, has or bleeding after childbirth, nifas, to be sane, to make the niyyah or for itikaf, for men to perform the itikaf in the masjid. These preconditions for all types of itikaf. In addition to these conditions, it will also necessary to be fasting if the itikaf is wajib or sunnah muakkada. Wajib and sunnah muakkada itikaf are therefore not valid without fasting during the day. A person has to fast during the wajib itikaf even if she did not mention anything about fasting when making the vow. Therefore, if a person performing the sunnah muakkada itikaf did not fast because of illness or because he was a traveler, musafir, then the community will not be freed of the sunnah muakkada al-kafaya by such an itikaf. The mustahabat of itikaf. The following acts are mustahab during itikaf: speaking only good and virtuous talk, reciting the Quran, reciting Darood, Salatul Nabi, learning and teaching the knowledge of Deen, conducting religious lectures, performing itikaf and in the Jama Masjid of the town. The times of itikaf. Wajib itikaf. Because fasting is a condition for wajib itikaf, its duration should be at least one complete day from the true dawn until sunset. It is therefore correct for one to vow that she will perform itikaf for any time less than a complete day. Sunnah Muqaddar itikaf. The duration for this itikaf is the last 10 days of Ramadan. Mustahib itikaf. There is no minimum time period for this type of itikaf. A person can even perform the mustahab itikaf for a few minutes or a few seconds. If a person makes the niyyah of performing nafil itikaf, every time he enters a masjid, he will earn the reward of many itikaf in a single day. Actions that are permissible during itikaf: eating and drinking in the masjid, sleeping in the masjid, buying or selling things as long as the time being bought in is not brought in the masjid area. Getting married, of course, sexual intercourse in the state of itikaf is not permissible. Reason for which a person is itikaf may leave the masjid: to visit the toilet, to receive oneself, to have a fard ghusl, to perform the Jummah Salah when it takes place in another masjid. The person performing itikaf may leave his masjid only after zawal. However, if the other masjid is far and it is not possible to reach there in time, if one leaves only after zawal, one may leave before zawal. This person should reach the masjid only with so much time to spare that 4 rakat of sunnah salah can be performed before the khutbah. One should not arrive earlier than this to call out the azan. If the masjid does not have toilet facilities or the person cannot use them, he is allowed to go home regardless of how far he lives from the masjid. However, if he has two homes, he will have to use the toilet or the house that is closer to the masjid. When making the intention for itikaf, if one had is intended to attend funeral prayer, janaza, salah, while in the itikaf, it will be permissible for him to leave the masjid for the janaza salah. However, if he did not make the intention when starting the itikaf, it will not be permissible. So hope you guys understand the fasting rules and the itikaf rules. So uh, inshallah we will start our lesson tomorrow. Same lesson, the makruhat of itikaf, actions that break itikaf, qada itikaf. So all of you, Ramadan Mubarak and happy Ramadan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a lot of courage and a lot of power to do a lot of good deeds. Assalamu alaikum, Allah Hafiz. Dua for me and dua for all Muslim Ummah. especially the people in Palestine who are suffering. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our good deeds. Assalamu alaikum. Allah Hafiz.